Tonight on NewsWatch, deadly tornadoes tear through a number of states. We'll show you the hardest hit areas.
Plus, new sanctions aimed at stopping Russia's work in Ukraine, what they'll do and who they'll affect.
And meet the man who ignited the cultural life of Israel and saved Jews from suffering and death in the process. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Severe weather is threatening more states tonight. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Lori Johnson. Today's outbreak comes on the heels of powerful storms yesterday that killed at least 15 people in various states. Caitlin Burke has been following that story and joins us now from the newsroom with more. Caitlin, where is the most damage being seen?
Lori, Arkansas seems to have gotten the worst of the storms. That's where at least 14 of those victims were killed. And authorities say a 30-mile path of destruction may have been caused by a single massive tornado.
Entire neighborhoods flattened, block after block of complete devastation.
I opened the safe room door, and all I could see was a truck and the boat there in the sky. There should have been a roof there.
The hardest hit town, Valonia, Arkansas, a suburb of Little Rock that almost exactly 3 years ago was hit by an EF2 tornado. The town's mayor says it was minor compared to what they saw last night.
This storm was much stronger. The devastation was just tremendous as far as the damage that it did. Before minor stuff, now houses are reduced to just piles of rubble.
Cleanup efforts haven't even begun, and volunteers are being asked to stay away as rescue crews continue to search through the debris for survivors.
It is a slow process because we've got people and dogs going through the rubble and trying to find whoever we can and whatever we can. Law enforcement has a perimeter around both towns.
The twister carved an 80-mile path of destruction north of Little Rock. It grew to be about a half a mile wide and at one point remained on the ground for an estimated 30 miles.
We opened the door and we couldn't get out because there was debris everywhere and we've lost everything.
According to the Arkansas State Police, about 30 vehicles were driving through Interstate 40 near Little Rock when the twister struck. Many of them were completely shredded, but the drivers were all able to escape.
As I was driving back, I saw nothing but black. It was huge, and I saw the rotation.
That same storm system is now slowly pushing east. The National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center says more storms are expected tonight in the south and across the Mississippi Valley.
By Wednesday, those severe storms will reach the southeast coast. And while some may have weakened, forecasters warn wherever the system goes, tornadoes are likely. Lori?
And Caitlin, some areas are already seeing that severe weather flare up today.
That's right. Tornado watches have already been issued today in Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas, and some counties are actually under warnings already. So residents in the region are bracing for more severe weather as we head into the night. Lori?
All right, Caitlin, thanks for your report.
A federal court of appeals began hearing arguments today on the constitutionality of a Mississippi abortion law. The law requires abortion doctors to have admitting privileges at local hospitals. Doctors of the state's only abortion clinics say they have been unable to obtain those privileges and that the law would force the clinic to close. Members of the judge panel noted the law could force women seeking abortions to travel to other states, raising the possibility of an unconstitutional burden on them. There was no indication when the judges would rule. Last month, the same court upheld a similar Texas law.
And joining us now is Missy Martinez with Students for Life. Missy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, the issue here is that Mississippi law requiring any physician performing abortions at a clinic to also have admitting privileges at a local hospital. Why do abortion advocates find that requirement so unreasonable?
They believe that it's an attack on women's ability to obtain abortions. However, we see it as just practical medical standards. So every other surgical facility in Mississippi is required that the doctors have admitting privileges in local hospitals. So why should abortion facilities be the exception when they are performing medical procedures?
Well, the Mississippi clinic tried to get admitting privileges for its doctors, but no local hospital would accept them. Do you think that's because the hospitals don't want to be associated with abortion?
Honestly, I don't think so, because we see a lot of these abortionists are shoddy doctors. We see abortionists like Gosnell and Carhart whose practices are substandard and are unhealthy, and they don't clean their facilities. I think it's just a reflection on the type of doctors who perform abortions. If they can't get admitting privileges, should they be performing surgical procedures?
Are the laws like the one in Mississippi part of an overall strategy by pro-life lawmakers to shut down abortion clinics?
Yes, I think that we are seeing a trend where this is working, but you know, it's a different approach, because we're seeing it as showing abortion for what it really is. It's a dangerous procedure. It's not healthy, whether it's legal or it's illegal. And so I think by raising these standards, we're exposing the abortion industry for its corrupt and its dirty, unsanitary practices. So I don't think that it's crazy that we would ask abortion facilities to meet basic health standards. And so it's kind of a plus. It's a positive byproduct that it closes facilities. But we're seeing pro-life legislation pass at unprecedented levels, and that's something to celebrate.
All right, Missy Martinez with Students for Life. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Overseas now to the tension between Russia and Ukraine. The U.S. and the European Union slapped new sanctions on Russia today, saying it's not following through on commitments to calm down the crisis in Ukraine. The White House also warns Russia still greater costs may be on the way if it doesn't stop provoking Ukraine. On the final stop of his Asian tour at a news conference in the Philippines, President Obama spoke out against Russia, announcing new sanctions.
We are going to be moving forward with an expanded list of individuals and companies that will be affected by sanctions. They remain targeted. We will also focus on some areas of high-tech defense exports to Russia that we don't think are appropriate to be exporting in this kind of climate.
The U.S. is canceling export licenses for high technology items government leaders say could enhance Russia's military capabilities. The U.S. also is sanctioning 7 Russian government officials and 17 companies, which have connections to Russian President Vladimir Putin's inner circle. In addition, the EU is implementing visa bans and asset freezes on 15 people accused of fanning the flames of instability in eastern Ukraine.
These sanctions represent the next stage in a calibrated effort to change Russia's behavior. We don't yet know whether it's going to work. And that's why the next phase, if in fact we saw further Russian aggression towards Ukraine, could be sectoral sanctions, less narrowly targeted, addressing sectors like banking or the defense industry.
Some U.S. lawmakers are calling for tougher measures sooner rather than later.
To me, hitting 4 of the largest banks there would send shockwaves into the economy. And I think, again, these sanctions on individuals are not having it's not creating the kind of pain within Russia that will cause Putin to change his behavior.
Meanwhile, today in eastern Ukraine, pro-Russia insurgents seized more government buildings. And in an escalation of violence, the Jewish mayor of Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, was shot in the back this morning, and he's now fighting for his life. City officials have not commented on who is responsible, but the mayor could have upset both sides.
President Obama ends his week-long Asia tour today by signing a 10-year agreement with the Philippines. The deal gives the U.S. greater military access to help secure the region. President Obama says the goal is to make sure international rules are respected, but some Filipino activists say the agreement reverses the country's democratic gains. The deal will keep bases under Filipino control while giving the U.S. more access to train Filipino soldiers.
683 people have been sentenced to death in Egypt's latest mass trial against supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood. Among those sentenced is Mohammed Badi, the Brotherhood's spiritual guide. The mass trials have drawn international condemnation. Human rights groups say the defendants were not given a fair trial. However, the same judge also reduced most of the death sentences handed to 529 defendants in a similar case in March, sentencing the majority of them to life imprisonment. The same court will hold another session on June 21st to issue the final verdicts.
Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas spoke out Sunday about the deaths of 6 million Jews during the Holocaust during World War II, calling it the most heinous crime of modern history. In the past, Abbas has suggested that the Holocaust has been exaggerated, but the reaction from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was dismissive.
Well, I think the difficulty is to reconcile that statement that President Abbas is making a few days after he embraces Hamas that denies the Holocaust and calls for perpetrating another Holocaust against the 6 million Jews of the State of Israel. So President Abbas has to decide whether he wants a pact with Hamas or peace with Israel. He cannot speak out of both sides of his mouth. He cannot embrace Hamas and say that he wants peace with Israel.
Abbas's comments came as the latest U.S. attempt to forge a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians was on the verge of a collapse.
Coming up, good news for the 80 million Americans suffering from heart disease. How the Mayo Clinic is helping them take back their health.
I was having some pains between my shoulder blades. At that point, everything changed. Diagnosis, pancreatic cancer. First, there was prayer. The second is to fight. As soon as we walked through those doors at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, all my anxiety left. The pastoral care here is based on the Bible, based on the Word of God, just as it is at our own church.
When you combine the great medicine with the spiritual resources we have, it provides the patients with something that really can make a difference.
You got a pastor right there on staff praying with patients, and whether it be scripture or whether it just be a word of encouragement to say, God's got this.
If you or someone you love is fighting complex or advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com/faith. You'll learn how our treatment results compare to national averages and see a list of insurance plans with which we've worked. Advanced medicine and technology, the warm embrace of the Spirit.
I firmly believe God led me here.
Call or go to cancercenter.com. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits. Appointments available now.
This is a national healthcare alert from the Health Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You could qualify for a pain-relieving knee brace at little or no cost to you. Get free delivery, and all the paperwork is handled by our accredited suppliers at no charge to you. If you're on Medicare and have knee pain, don't wait. You may qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost. Friendly agents are standing by 24/7 to help you. Call the Health Hotline right now for details toll-free. Our friendly representatives are standing by now to take your call. We also have other pain-relieving braces available for shoulder, ankle, and your back. You may be eligible to receive these items and more at little or no cost to you as well. Call right now for details toll-free.
Operators are standing by. Call 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143. Again, 855-740-8143. That's 855-740-8143.
Could smoking marijuana be bad for your heart? A new study in the Journal of the American Heart Association suggests yes. The data found from France found that from 2006 through 2010, 35 patients suffered heart problems thought to be a result of marijuana use, and 9 of them died. The study's lead researcher says more research needs to be done on the correlation of pot and heart problems, but that currently people think cannabis is harmless. From my work, we see cannabis use may lead to very serious complications on the cardiovascular system. Well, there are many things you can do to improve your heart health.
And that's something many Americans need to do. 80 million people in the U.S. have some form of heart disease.
Well, now the Mayo Clinic is using a simple plan to try to reduce that number. Heart disease is the #1 killer of men and women, but an astonishing 80% is preventable. Dr. Martha Grogan is a cardiologist at the prestigious Mayo Clinic. She says even small lifestyle changes can make a big difference. She lays out a simple plan in the new book, Mayo Clinic Healthy Heart for Life, that includes eating 5 fruits and vegetables a day.
Eating a more healthy diet sounds hard to some people, but don't worry about the things you can't eat. Just focus on the things you can eat. So try to eat 5 fruits and vegetables a day, and you'll be full. You won't eat as much junk food.
We all know that smoking is bad for your heart, but did you know that sitting most of the time is just as bad? A sedentary lifestyle doubles your chance for a heart attack. But the good news is even a little bit of exercise can make a big difference. Just 10 minutes a day can cut your chance of a heart attack in half.
If you do more activity, you'll benefit even more. But people have gotten into the habit of thinking that 10 minutes is nothing, and it's not.
Getting 8 hours of sleep a night should be considered a necessity, not a luxury, because sleep deprivation has devastating effects on your heart.
One of the most important things about sleep is that getting adequate sleep can help people lose weight. So it not only protects you from heart attacks, but it helps you maintain a healthy weight.
And finally, be joyful, because negative emotions like anger, anxiety, grief, and loneliness can damage your heart. So changing to a heart-healthy lifestyle is easier than you think. And as an added bonus, you'll also reduce the risk of stroke, Alzheimer's, and cancer.
Up next, how one man helped rescue Jews from Nazi death camps through music.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Today, the nation of Israel paused to mark Holocaust Remembrance Day. Tonight, we bring you a story of a man who rescued hundreds of Jews from Nazi death camps.
And he did it with music. In tonight's Focus Report, Gary Lane brings us this look at a new movie documenting his journey.
The Academy Award-winning movie Schindler's List introduced the world to Oskar Schindler and his work rescuing Jews from Nazi death camps.
It's Hebrew from the Talmud. It says, whoever saves one life saves the world entire.
But who was Bronislaw Huberman?
He was the Schindler of the music world. Schindler saved 1,000 people.
Huberman saved 1,000 people and no one knows him.
Academy Award-nominated director Josh Aronson tells Huberman's story in the documentary Orchestra of Exiles.
He was a hero. He was a heroic character. He was a great violinist. He was a great artist, and he was a great man.
A Jewish child prodigy from Poland, Huberman began playing the violin at age 8. He performed throughout Europe and fell in love with the audiences in Palestine.
The film is about a man who starts the cultural life of Israel by founding the Palestine Symphony. And it's about the difficulty and the obstacles, tremendous obstacles, that were in the way of Huberman in doing this. It was before concentration camps. It's before we knew what was coming in Germany. He talked to people about how dangerous it was going to get. And it was eerie that he had this sense. And because of that, that sort of inner conviction that it was very dangerous for Jews in Germany and that Jews had to get out.
By the end of 1935, every Jew in the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra had left the orchestra. Most had been fired. Eventually, the Nazis invited only so-called special Jews to perform. Huberman refused.
From the moment that Hitler came in, Huberman said he would never play in Germany again until every musician who'd been fired from the Berlin Philharmonic was back in their seats, and from the Frankfurt symphonies and so on and so forth. And he said he wouldn't go otherwise.
Eventually, Huberman decided to form the Palestine Orchestra, a symphony of exiled Jews that would perform music at the very highest levels. He wanted to show the world that the Nazis and their anti-Semitic beliefs could be opposed with the only weapon many Jews possessed: music. Huberman spent 2 years traveling throughout Europe, auditioning the best musicians. Most were Jews exiled from Central European orchestras. Musicians like highly regarded soloist David Grunschlag. Huberman helped Grunschlag and his family move to Palestine.
Luckily for my family, nobody had to go through the ordeals of concentration camps thanks to Huberman, because by getting my father out in 1936 to Palestine, not only saved his life, but also his sister's.
One sister was 20 years old, the other was only 16.
That's us, that's Tony and Rosie, a few years apart.
As Hitler's power and influence grew, the Grunschlag girls knew they had to get out. After several embassies rejected their visa requests, they sent a letter to Huberman, who was housed at a Budapest hotel.
And so Tony wrote him, "Dear Maestro, you are our last hope. Please help us."
Huberman agreed to help. 6 weeks later, the two women received student visas and were on their way to Palestine.
He made it all happen, yes.
We knew any Jew, he gets out of Europe, he's probably saved his life, or at least spared him a lot of misery and a lot of suffering.
And in the process, Huberman brought music and culture to the desert.
It was a big deal coming to a land where the culture is almost non-existent, but everybody is very, very thirsty for it. There was a lot of excitement in the air, you know, hustle and bustle. This was a country in the making.
Led by Italian conductor Arturo Toscanini, the Palestine Symphony performed its first concert on December 26, 1936. The event was broadcast on radio and heard by millions around the world. Huberman also started a music school. He insisted that all symphony players instruct others, so a new generation of musicians could be built in Palestine. When Israel became a state in 1948, the Palestine Symphony was renamed the Israel Philharmonic Orchestra. Huberman died in 1947. Though he never heard his orchestra perform the Israeli national anthem, the Hatikva, his legacy lives on.
So there is this evolution, the seeds of culture that Huberman planted here, that he brought from Central Europe. We are reaping its rewards today, and we will continue to reap its rewards.
I imagine you're a great admirer of Huberman.
I am a great admirer of Huberman.
What do you admire the most about him?
For a man to stand up against intolerance and sacrifice so much of himself and to change himself in doing it. He saw something happening in the world that demanded a response. And so many people today, and this is, I hope, the lesson of the film, so many people are so quick to look the other way.
Aronson's film helps people look at Nazi anti-Semitism and see how one man not only used music to save hundreds of lives, but also to restore a little bit of humanity to an entire world. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Up next, why some very small homes could be the next big thing in the American housing market. Stay with us.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
As the post-recession housing market improves, home prices across the country are going up.
That's why some people are opting for homes on the smaller side. So-called tiny houses are popping up all over the country. Wow, they are tiny. Each is smaller than 500 square feet and costs less than $30,000. The houses allow people to become homeowners without racking up tons of debt and a large mortgage payment.
When housing gets expensive, people face a tough set of choices. You can either move to a much cheaper neighborhood, or you can double up with roommates, or you could look for a much smaller place than you would have otherwise. And some people are choosing that smaller place.
Yeah, essentially this is kind of the toilet setup, and there's sort of the urine diverter right there. So still needs a bit more refining, but getting there. And then it doubles as the bathroom doubles also as a wet bath.
Looks a little primitive, but not only are the tiny homes helping buyers get into the housing market, 5 states across the U.S. are using them to help fight homelessness. Sounds like a good idea on the surface, at least.
Yeah, not for everyone, but certainly for some people.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all the time we have for this edition of NewsWatch.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good night.